Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, we are on season 6 of the Government Coins podcast. Y'all, I'm so excited. Who would have thought we would have been going this long? But there's so much opportunity out there and there's so much information. And every week on Thursday at 1:30 p.m., we are joined by amazing guests who are representing programs or small business owners in the government contracting space. And today, listen, we typically go through different cities and counties. This is our very first airport authority. We are here with Thiané Carter. Hey. So I'm so excited to have you on. Thiané is actually at Raleigh-Durham International Airport. And this is one of those spaces where we don't necessarily talk about a lot, but there are a number of different opportunities to get involved at your local airport and at any of the different airport authorities, and just talking about transportation in general, which I know we're probably going to tap into that. But Thiané, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank
How you
you.
doing?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here. We have connected on the web, but this is the first time we've got to connect for real, so I'm excited.
Exactly. You know, in front of the people, I can sit up here and act like I've been knowing you for years, but it really feels like that.
I could dig that. I could truly dig that.
Okay, okay. But just so you know, people are under or will understand exactly what's more about you. Can you tell me about yourself and how you got into this space?
How I got into the space. I think I got into the space like most people get into their jobs. You take a job and then you just follow it where it goes, right? You just follow where it goes. So I've been at the Raleigh-Durham Airport for since 2011. Before that, I was a consultant, and the space that I'm in is federal minority and women-owned business programs, which crosses across all transportation modes, not just airports, but highways, departments of transportation, transit, all the things, right? So as a consultant, I dealt with all of those different modes and the funding that they receive. And as a part of that funding, they're required to include minorities and women-owned business. So that's kind of how I fell into it, was doing consulting for different agencies. And then I got a job with the Raleigh-Durham Airport, and I've been here mostly ever since.
Nice. So you were already in the Raleigh-Durham area, or you got the job and you relocated to the area?
So I really do feel like we know each other, because I want to be like, see,
What happened?
what happened was I went to school in Wilmington, the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. I got a finance degree from that institution, and I needed a job. I was a senior and I needed a job. And a consulting company hired me in my last semester of college. And I was like, oh, I'm a grown up. I got a job now. I'm going to
Right.
do
A
this.
real job.
Right, like a real job for real, for real. And then that agency or that company needed somebody to move to Charlotte to do some work in Charlotte. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna be a grown up and I'm gonna move to Charlotte." So that so I went to Charlotte. I got a master's at UNC Charlotte in the public administration program, and I've been moving around a little bit ever since then. But I've been in diversity, supplier diversity space, diversity, equity, inclusion space generally since then.
Nice, very nice. I thank you for sharing that information. And as it relates to your role at RDU, I know we talked about starting at the consulting company. Can you tell us about your role at RDU and I guess in terms of how those two actually connect?
Okay. So RDU is one of those unique places that walks the walk. You know, lots of places talk about it. RDU is actually about that
Yeah.
inclusion life, right? So my role here is to make sure that every contract that we have, all the spending, all the things that we're doing, have minority, women-owned small business inclusion in them, whether that's setting goals, whether that's being out in the community to talk about the opportunities that we have, whether that's making people aware of the certifications that are required to be involved. So my role is kind of it's like a spider. It's got a lot of legs. I do a lot of things around here, but I am supported by the Raleigh-Durham Airport in terms of our board and our leadership about making sure that that is a part of all of our business opportunities. So I can't tell you what I do because it seems to change every day, but in general, that's what I do.
Got it. So overall, this is,
Overall, I'm
yeah.
trying to make sure we are inclusive in our business opportunities, whatever they may be, and they're pretty diverse.
Absolutely. Okay. And as we talk about that, small businesses make up our audience. Typically small women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses are who we are creating this content and sharing this information for. So directly in the line of the work that you're doing, can we talk a little bit about RDU's programs, their small business programs that are available?
Absolutely. So I always tell people to think of an airport as a small town. So anything that a small town would buy, anything that a small town would need to operate itself. Plus, we have airplanes, right? So, like a small town might do streets and highways. We do runways, we do aprons, we do parking lots, we buy paper, we buy badges, we buy all of the things you would need to operate a small town. We have a law enforcement division. We have a CFR, which is our fire and rescue area. Obviously, we have a finance department, an IT department. So if you think about the things that it takes to run a town and the different departments that we have, in addition to having a whole airport, right? Like, so the things that are related to an airplane, we have all of that happening plus what happens in a small town. And so when we're talking about, oh, you asked me about the programs, I'm talking about the opportunities.
No, you can.
I get excited, right? So when you're thinking about who could benefit from the airport, we're trying to make sure that if we're building a runway, if we're building a building, if we are redoing a parking lot, if we're buying office supplies, if we're buying IT things, that we are being inclusive in that. So what we do is we either set goals. If it's a federal program, then we fall under our Federal Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. So that's known as the DBE program. If it's the terminal, the airport itself, so you're talking about the restaurants, the shops, the shoe shine guy, even the rental cars, that's under our airport concessions disadvantaged business enterprise. And then everything else. So everything we buy that's not federally assisted falls under our minority and woman-owned small business program. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the opportunity and look who's out in the marketplace to do the work and set a goal related to that. And we put it out on the street, we do the solicitation, we do a selection, and we look for our businesses to either meet our goal or show us their efforts that they demonstrated to meet our goal. So those are the two standards. Did you meet the goal? Did you demonstrate efforts to meet the goal? And that's how we're determining whether or not you've met the program requirements. So for everything we do, we go through that same process.
Nice. And just thinking about it in that regard. So the ACDBE and the DBE, those are the federal programs.
That's right.
Now, if the opportunity does not fall within federal guidelines, there's the MWSB program.
Oh, girl, you got this thing.
Look, hold on. I'm looking at the screen. Don't give me too much credit
okay.
now.
Well, see.
Okay, but from this one, the question is, how do you know if an opportunity fits between those two goals from a business owner perspective, and how necessary would it be to obtain all of those different certifications?
So we haven't gotten to the part where we talk about outreach opportunities and when we do these classes, but we do classes about this. But the short version is, if I'm a business owner, and I want to do business with the Raleigh-Durham Airport, I'm going to go get the DBE certification. And the reason is, if you have the federal certification, all the other ones kind of fall under it. You are eligible for all of the other ones. But if you're not doing terminal concessions, if you're not food, beverage, retail, if you're not servicing the rental cars, then the ACDBE is not for you. That's generally for terminal, traveling, public situations. So if you get DBE and you're in construction or you want to do work on the airport, then you'll be good for our non-federal program and our federal program. Our MWSB program, we take different certifications for that one. So you can be certified by the Minority Supplier Development Council. You can be certified by our local historically underutilized business office. And of course, you can give us your federal DBE and that will cover you for all of that. So I would say DBE is generally for people who want to work in transportation and generally for construction, but not all the time. If I was in business, I would go get the DBE because that would cover me for everything at the Raleigh-Durham Airport.
Got it. And one thing that you said that was very interesting was servicing the rental cars. So
right?
honestly, I always assumed that the rental car companies handle that. They're big enough.
So fun fact, we had
Oh,
an event last week for rental car opportunities because the fact that they're on our campus makes them fall under our ACDBE program. So therefore, they have to go get the same minority and women-owned business participation that we have to go get. So of course, it's different because they have to go buy it themselves. They have to go through all these things. So we want to work with them. We want to partner with them. So we had an event last Thursday-ish about that to help small business owners introduce themselves to our local rental car agencies. And actually, I can't give you the information, but there's a national event kind of geared around that coming up on May 5th, I believe. Okay. So if you Google rental car diversity, you'll find it. But the point is every local agency or local airport has rental car has an obligation in the same way we do. So the rental car companies do towing. The rental car companies do what is it when you tear up their cars? You know, you have to fix the car because
is it real?
You know, when you fix
the auto.
Okay, you don't run into things. That's fine. Whatever. The point is, they gotta fix the car.
I'm just kidding. Any cosmetic repair.
Yes, that's okay. Body shop. That's the word I'm looking for. You acting like I'm making this up. It's the real thing. Someone has to supply them with fuel. Someone has to supply them with janitorials. There's different things that based on where they're located, they will need to be supplied by. And so those are things that the rental car agencies directly would contract with small businesses for. We as the airports are there to support them and make sure that they make connections with the minority and women-owned businesses.
Got it. So that was more of a matchmaking event. How often do you typically host those matchmaking style events?
So we have been doing that, again, it's part of a national thing. So airports across the country have been doing it since 2019. And some of them have been in person, but of course we had to switch that up a little for COVID. For sure. So we've had ours in person with the Charlotte Douglas Airport. We went to Charlotte and had it there. We had planned in 2020 to have them come here. That didn't go down the way we thought it would. So 2021, we did it virtually. So again, if you're in any of these markets, these large airports specifically, they will have these events and they will likely be in person. Also, some of the states have done them together. So we did a statewide one with our other airports. We have some smaller airports in North Carolina that we did it with. And I know South Carolina did theirs together too. So just look for the Rental Car Supplier Diversity Day. It's coming up. And you'll be able to connect with your local airports on the rental car opportunities.
Perfect. I just actually found the event and dropped it in the chat. So anyone who's listening, you can go to YouTube and grab the link. It's May 7th. So make sure you grab it before then. But we have someone who's interested in doing business with an airport, and they're asking questions around courier services to move products and equipment. Is that something that they could partner with the rental car service to possibly provide?
I love to know everything, but sometimes I just don't. And I would say you would reach out to the rental car agencies directly and find out if that's something that they are buying. I will also say on the website that you've got a link for us. Our previous rental car agency events are on our page. So the contact people for those events are there, and you can reach out to the rental car agencies directly and say, hey, is this something that you do?
Very nice. Okay, so I'm dropping these in the chat.
It's a lot happening. Lots of links that it's a lot happening right now.
It's a lot going on. And in addition to that, you pointed out the different programs in terms of getting certified. What does that look like at RDU? Do you manage the certifications, or is it like how does that process work?
Okay, so let's start with the easy one, right? Let's start with the easy one. Minority and women-owned small business is our program for anything that's non-federal. So because it's non-federal, we can accept certifications from other states that are non-federal. We can accept certifications from private agencies that may certify. We are looking to see that you are minority or woman-owned and also small by the certification standards or the size standards for the SBA. So if you have a certification that verifies that you're a minority or a woman, and small, you can send it to us and we will get you done certified. I have someone in my office who's great. She's awesome. I'm going to give my staff person a shout out because
Mhm.
Christy, who's in my office, she has turned things around in like 24 hours. I mean, you have to be nice to her, but you have to be nice to her. But she's phenomenal in that we try to remove barriers to certification. So if you send an email to smallbusiness@rdu.com and let us know, hey, I'm interested in being certified, she's gonna get to you and at least give you the information that you need to begin the process.
Got it. Okay. And that's perfect. So one thing that you mentioned, we typically get this question a lot. Can you do business from a different state? So considering, if you're accepting certifications from a different state, do you necessarily have to verify the business is located or they have a presence in Raleigh area?
Absolutely not. So we are looking for minority and women-owned small businesses wherever they're located that can do the job and give us good service and products. So we have no geographic limitation. And as a matter of fact, for the federal program, you can't have a geographic barrier. They can be located anywhere.
Got it. Okay. So that opens that up.
It does.
Before the question ever gets
There
dropped.
you
Like
go.
you
You
can
got
do
it.
business from wherever you are for sure. Okay. And then in terms of the process for the DBE and ACDBE, is it typically the same? And then also is it the same contact person, Christy?
So that would be a big fat no for all of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So I'll start with ACDBE. Actually, I'll start with both of them. Both DBE and ACDBE are federal programs that are governed under federal regulation. Those regulations, if you feel the need to Google, are 49 CFR Part 23 and Part 26. Those regulations changed as of April 9th. The new regulations will become effective May 9th. And in those changes, the way that businesses will become certified will also change. And so previous to May 9th, you would go to the state that your business is located in, your primary place of business, which was formerly known as your home state. And you would go to that state and you would say, I want to be certified. Generally, it would be your Department of Transportation, but in your state, it might be another agency. And you would say, I want to be certified in my state. And they would go through a process where you would fill out an application. They would do an in-person site visit to your place of business. They would review you and they would either approve it or deny you. And then if you wanted to do business in other states, you would take that letter over to the next state and say, look, my home state has certified me. That process has changed.
Okay.
And many states are in the process of determining what that means for us. So I will not speak to what the change will be. I will say that you can probably still reach out to your Department of Transportation to find out what the new process will be. There is talk that you would not necessarily have to be in the state that you have your primary business in. However, all these things are fuzzy. It's only been a month since we've seen these new regulations.
Yeah, the filing.
Yeah, so I would say your state Department of Transportation can probably handle you, but that might not be the best thing for you.
Okay. Got it. All right. And that's something we could talk about this a little bit too. But thinking about that, in one of the other components that you mentioned before, and I didn't get a chance to tap into it, was you're at a major airport. For the smaller, local executive business airports, do they operate with some of the same guidelines and requirements, or is it typically for the bigger ones who have the funding in the ACDB programs?
So yes and no. A lot of your smaller airports are actually, or your private airports are actually operated by larger groups, or your city may own those airports. And so it's difficult to know whether or not that falls under. They may have small airports, or they might have private airports, and they might have all of the things. So the answer is don't know, because it would depend on where you are and who's managing that. There is a size standard as far as which airports have to comply with these regulations. But it's a little bit all over the place depending on where you are and who's owning what.
Got it. Okay. Now this is because the regulations are changing. Do you have small business programs or, I mean, goals in place right now? And, that could be changing, but is that a question that you can speak to at this
Sure.
moment?
So that part didn't change. That's literally the
Okay.
only part of the regulations that didn't change. There will still be minority and women owned, and of course, in the federal program, it's called DBE or ACDBE program goals. We have pretty serious regulations about how we set those goals and when we set those goals and on what basis we apply them, but that did not change. And that is not to say that every contract that's federally assisted will have goals, but that part didn't change. So they're still doing that.
Perfect. Okay. So we're still getting a little
Yeah,
something.
yes, we're still there. It's still there.
Okay. And then for small business events, you just did the rental car event recently. How often do you have small business events where, businesses can come in, connect with other businesses or primes? How often do you typically have those style events? Or
So
even just
we
training events as well?
okay. So we are a small staff. So we don't host those type of things unless someone is assisting us. In this, the rental car event was kind of co-hosted with another department, and also our rental car partners
Got it.
supported that event. We just had a certification event yesterday or the day before, and that event was co-hosted by one of our construction managers that are on campus. So if you see an event like that, somebody's helping us with it, because that's how we do it here. Occasionally, and by occasionally I mean quarterly, we have how to do business with RDU, and that's a virtual event. The next one is coming up on, I could have sworn I wrote that on my notes, but we have it in the link. I think it's June 5th.
June 5th. Yes.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
right.
June 5th. And so that's a virtual event. Anyone can attend, register and attend to kind of find out a little bit more about the programs that we have here and how to get involved, and kind of some of the do's and don'ts about doing business with the Raleigh-Durham Airport directly.
Got it.
More often than not, you're going to see us at other people's events. So later this summer, Wake County and the city of Raleigh are having an event. We're going to that. ACI, which is Airports Council International, it's our trade organization for airports. We will be at that event. AMAC, Airport Minority Advisory Council, which is an advocacy group for small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority businesses that want to do business with airports.
Okay.
That is a trade organization for just that purpose. Their events or their conference is in August. And so you can Google AMAC, AMAC, and we'll be there. So if you see us, or if you want to see us, you have to go to the places, because that's where we are. I also tell people, if you want to network, come to the bid meetings, right? Because that's where other bidders are going to be. And if you want to meet staff people, come to those meetings. That's where staff is. It is unlikely that we will be taking personal meetings because, time. But if you want to meet people, come to the places that the people are.
Nice. Okay. And that's a good one. Having a list of all of the different events where they can come in and meet you. I feel like I saw that on the website before. I was looking for it. It's somewhere on.
It was wrong. So I'm all about a LinkedIn, right? I'm all about a LinkedIn post. Okay, that's how I do. So every so often I will put where we're going to be, because it's important to let people know these things, but also because these events are where business is done.
Absolutely.
You're meeting people, you're connecting with people, you're learning things and mistakes that you don't need to make, which I think is phenomenal, because there are many people that have done this before you. No need to reinvent the wheel here.
Absolutely.
So that's the place. Those are the places to be for that kind of thing.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in here. I can't find a post, but I'm going to drop this one in here.
I'll repost. I'm a repost.
You know what?
I got you. I got you. I told you. I told you.
Okay, I just dropped that one in the chat. Now, another component before I move past this small business piece and talking about any like additional support is you gave a great analogy. You said, think of an airport as a small town, as a small city. And keeping in mind there's a police, they have fire department, well, typically the fire department. Does that all is that coupled with the Homeland Security, or is it?
So that's a good question. So no. So the feds are the feds, and we are not the feds. So the Department of Homeland Security, TSA, all of that, they are their own people. Now, of course, they are in our space, right? But they do their own business stuff. So we're not typically involved in what they're soliciting and what they're buying. We are generally focused on us. Now, if we have to build something in their spaces, that's a different scenario. But in general, Homeland Security, TSA, all of that is handled by the feds.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. So that's that was a good point. I thought that was something that was big, because thinking about it from a city or a small town aspect, there's multiple different departments, which is the same within the airport. So talking about different departments, everyone has different budgets, right? Procurement budget. How much in procurement does the airport typically spend?
See, I knew you were going to ask that, but I don't have an answer for
Okay,
that.
that's cool.
But what I have is a link, and that's RDU.com, where our budget lives. Okay, right. So I can get you to the budget, right? It's kind of hard for me. So the budget is whatever the budget says it is. But if I was a business owner, I probably wouldn't be focused on the budget. I would probably be focused on what I do and who could use it. Because, for example, if you go to our budget, you're going to see that we have a maintenance department, and you may see fleet. Well, that should clue you in that we're buying vehicles. We are buying equipment for vehicles. We are, what is it that you do that could link you to that? If that's not your space, that's not your space. If you go to the budget, you're going to see a whole list of things that we buy. But like, if you see we have a marketing department, are you a printer? Are you providing promotional items? So I don't focus too much on what we're spending, because you're not going to be able to tell what we're buying from that. But it should spark something in you that says, okay, they have a communications, and we have marketing, then we have communications, and then we have our communications like operators, like police operators. We have a whole department for that. You sell headsets, you sell the things that they use for those type of things. You should be thinking about what you sell that they need. We have a whole IT department. I would love to tell you what they buy. I don't even know. The point is, if you're in the IT space, that should be where your mind is. Are they looking for software? Are they looking for consultants? Or do you sell hardware? What is it that you do? You can check out our budget, and you can, think about how much we spend and have dollar signs in your eyes, but it's not going to get you closer to figuring out how you can help us, which is really what you need to be doing.
Got you. And you know what? You took my next question, because I was going to ask about the departments, but it's okay.
It's okay. Okay.
It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. It was perfect, because that kind of rolls back into, some of the work that you do as well. So as a business owner reaching out, and I need assistance figuring out which departments can I connect with to do business. Is that where, we could reach out to the departments to kind of, okay.
So two things. One, you get certified so we know that you exist, and you come to the meetings or the bid opportunity. So you've got the link. We have a list of bidding opportunities. You figure out where you fit in. You come to those meetings. You hear the people. You meet the people, or you send us an email and say, "Hey, I sell this particular thing. Who should I connect with?" And that's smallbusiness@rdu.com. We can connect you, but the better way is to look and see what we're buying and see how you can connect, because in our solicitation documents, you're going to see which departments are buying. You're going to see what the selection criteria are. You're going to see the contracts. You need to check those out. Everyone should check out the contracts, because contracts are important. But that's the kind of research you need to do before you reach out.
Got it. And you can actually see the opportunities listed on the website. So I'm going to drop this link in there as well, because like you said, figure it out, then come to me. It will come to her, not me.
You said that so well. Figure it out and then come to us. I just want to point out that you said that. That's all I'm doing.
Okay. And then on the next piece of that, can we talk a little bit about like purchasing thresholds as well? Is that a space that we can kind of smooth over a little bit, thinking about, small businesses that are looking to get in for those micro purchases and all of that stuff? Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. So under $5,000 here, and this is all public information. But under $5,000, we try to get quotes, but it might not be posted on our website, right?
Okay.
So those are smaller purchases. They might not be posted. We'll just go out and get quotes ourselves.
Got it.
That's where making sure you've connected with our procurement department, making sure that we are small businesses aware of you is important, because some of those things don't hit the website. They're so small that, you know, we're just going about our business, but we have to know you exist to be able to connect you. And then above $5,000, you're going to see it either sent out by email to registered vendors or posted on the website. Generally, we are not spending small money, so it's going to be posted on our website. That does not mean small businesses can't have an opportunity. It means you have to watch the website.
Got it.
Or we're in a situation in the moment, we're upgrading our website, so there's some instructions on how not to miss things. So check out our website to make sure you're not missing it while we're updating our website.
Got it. Okay. So, and I guess for those opportunities, how frequently do you necessarily update the website with those?
Girl, every day, all the days. Every time I look up, we're doing something else. So if I was a business owner and I wanted to do business with the Raleigh-Durham Airport, I would have a little calendar alert to check the website every day. That's what I would do. If you're a small minority or woman-owned business, we are going to do our best to email you every time there's an opportunity, but many of those won't have anything to do with the type of work you do. So you have to kind of sort through that. But if I was in business, that's what I would do. I would just be checking the website.
I love that. If I was in business.
If I'm not, and I'm not an entrepreneur, and my hat's off to entrepreneurs. But that's what I would do.
Okay. And then final question, what is the current procurement process like? How do I respond to a RFP that's posted on the website?
So I got to give props to our procurement department. There are a lot of solicitations out there, and they are very well written. The instructions are very clear. I think where people get hung up is not reading every line and every page 3 times, and then not. And I tell this to many people, you will not get the first bid you put in. You just won't. And at that point, when you lose, which you will, you should go ask why you lost, because there's so much paperwork. I can't even front like it's not. It's a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah,
but it's a government contract. What are you expecting? But what you want to know is where you can improve, what you might have missed, was there something that you could have added? These are questions that you can only ask after you've bid, right? So when you're talking about how to get involved with us, you have to bid and you have to try, and you might have to try more than once. And I have a couple of like success stories from people who have tried and failed and then tried and succeeded. Nice. Because they kept trying. I'm not saying that it's difficult. I'm just saying it's a lot of paperwork. And most of my business owners are off running their business. They do not have time for paperwork. Absolutely. So filling out RFP solicitation bids, that's not their thing. That's not what you do every day. So it's not like you're going to get it on the first shot, but that's how you get better at that. Read the instructions and follow them.
Following through those instructions. Okay. Yeah. I think that's just the only way that you can do it, to be honest with you.
There's no shortcut to this.
Yeah, definitely with that. Well, this has been a great episode. I want to ask you, this is the final question.
Yeah, because I think the last question was
the last question was the last question. But this
that's
is the final question.
Got it.
Yes.
Clear.
There we go. This one is, what are some tips or tricks or some last parting wisdom that you would leave with small businesses listening to this episode?
Tips or tricks. I don't know if I can leave tips or tricks. What I really want to say is shout out to anyone who takes a chance on themselves, who takes a chance to be an entrepreneur and does not give up on themselves. Shout out to anyone who goes after these kind of contracts and does not give up until they understand how to do it right. And shout out to those that keep trying, because these are the businesses that build our communities. These are the businesses that hire our communities. These are the people that uplift our communities. So shout out to those businesses. It's not easy. And there are those of us that sit behind a desk because we can't do that. But y'all can. So shout out to y'all. So that's what I would say.
I love it. I think that was perfect. You did that. I'm inspired.
Shout out, like shout out to you.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, this was the first time. I'm pretty sure we're gonna connect again.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you again for joining and sharing this information. And we look forward to following the journey and everything that's going on at RDU.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you so much.
in the meantime, if you are tuning into this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you share this video with any other small business owners that are in this space who can take advantage of these programs. And until then, we'll see y'all in the next episode. All right. Peace.